All right, so I'm here with Brandon and Robbie from Palin and Cohen. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
How's campaigning going?
It's going great.
Pretty good.
It's pretty busy, but we're interacting with a lot of students, seeing what issues they have on campus. So it's definitely a rewarding experience for us so far.
Yeah, it's very fun. Honestly, it's at the beginning when we were getting stuff together, it was exciting, but now it's rolling out and we're talking to people, and that's what we love to do.
So why did you guys think to run? What motivated you?
There's been a lot of motivation behind this. I don't think there's one aspect that we can necessarily narrow it down to. I think what brought Robbie and I together to truly do this was the passion that Robbie expressed to me when he wanted to run. If I was going to do this, it had to be with someone that I knew would do a good job, and that was going to be bringing a unique perspective to things. So when Robbie approached me, he didn't immediately start talking about the slate or specifically within the position. The first thing he said was, why are we pushing for 20% voter turnout? It's ridiculous. Why aren't students engaged? And then he went on to talk about how the USC's kind of lost track about what students want. We're talking about ourselves a lot, but we kind of stopped caring about the students. The USC keeps evolving, but we're not evolving with our students. So that's what our motivation is. Mm-hmm. We're motivated by the students who really don't know what's going on.
So when you're talking about that, how are you going to achieve that student involvement with the USC?
Sure. So I think our first thing is getting our feet on the ground, actually engaging students, talking with them, and making sure that what we're putting on our platform is things that students will be able to realize next year. They're tangible, they're realistic, but they're also going to benefit students a ton. Robbie's got a cool initiative called Coffee with Robbie. I'm sure he'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, please explain.
Okay, so essentially, it's an outreach program. The past couple of years, they've had something called Change Camp, which is basically any Western student can come talk to the executive about what's going on, and it hasn't really been that successful at all. This year they're actually not doing it, but I want to put something in place instead of Change Camp. So Coffee with Robbie it's both a tangible and an intangible idea. First, I want to start out by grabbing coffee with students, kind of like all the good mayors. They have their office hours in the local Tim Hortons. Mm-hmm. So I want to mirror that. And then I want to move forward, I want to expand to focus groups and other outreach programs, and really talk to people, talk to the average students, and talk to clubs and faculties. And then it extends beyond that to going to faculty meetings, showing face, going down to the productions while they're setting up for events and saying hi, saying thanks. It's all about showing face and really showing that we care.
I think one thing that's overlooked often is the little things. Just showing face and going around and talking to people, it's such an easy act, but it has so much value to it. We want to show students that we're not just some executive body that sits behind closed doors, but we want to engage students. We want them to be a part of the conversation and part of this change. That's something that's very passionate to us, is actually getting students involved with what we're doing. If you look at the USC lately, everything that's gone through council is bylaw changes, policy changes. So that's a big reason why students don't really care, because what we're putting through council doesn't necessarily affect them directly.
So you have prior experience as a social science president. That's one faculty. I know it's quite large, but how are you going to adjust and serve the whole student body?
For sure. So I think a good way to look at this is you're only as strong as your weakest link. So the team that we've put together and that's helping us and advising us on how to move forward is a team from all different faculties, all different backgrounds. It's a very diverse group. So I think one thing for me is being able to acknowledge that my opinions aren't the only ones that matter. We have to make sure we're engaging other students, make sure we're engaging other groups, make sure we're talking with people from various backgrounds. And I think that comes to play with our whole idea of Robbie and I together. I've been very involved with the USC. I have a ton of experience with Western itself, serving as a senator last year. So I know how things work, and I have that big picture. And then where Robbie comes in is he's got that outsider perspective.
So the things that I'm involved in are I'm a SOF. This year I was an assistant head SOF, and I've been a club executive for a couple of years. I also have a little bit of experience with USC, but nothing as significant as Brandon, and that's where we kind of fill each other's voids. And so that outsider perspective, that fresh perspective, is what we want to apply to every decision, every procedure, every process that the USC partakes in.
So going off of that, why is it necessary to take some of the money from our O-Week budget and put it towards our softs instead of our frosh, which is part of your platform?
Okay, so essentially we want to look into this.
Okay.
Softing is very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's one of the biggest things that Western offers for its students, we want to look into it. We want to give people the time of day to show that we care about them and that we want to see if it's a feasible idea. There are many people who would love to be a Res Soft and also faculty softs, but they might not be able to afford it. And we don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable in terms of their socioeconomic class. And it's a fantastic program. I've been in it for a couple of years. Brandon's been in it for a couple of years, and we want to look into it.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's very expensive to be a soft, and you're also a volunteer. You're putting up a ton of hours into this program, and we don't think you shouldn't have the opportunity to be a part of it because you can't afford it. So what we think is that it's kind of unfair for us always to be asking them for so much money. It amounts to over $100 most of the time, plus travel, plus time. That adds up a lot. And for students, who don't have too much disposable income, it's kind of not realistic for us always to be asking them for all this money. So what we want to do is change that. We want to make it accessible to everyone. And right now, it's not.
So your focus is a lot on orientation week. What will you implement throughout the year then, aside from orientation?
In terms of like first years or just in
exactly,
general?
Exactly, yes. Mm-hmm.
So keeping first years engaged throughout the year is a priority. I think it's not necessarily what the executive does that's going to get them involved, but making sure that the clubs are accountable and that they have the resources to involve first year students and that they know what they're doing. So a big portion for us is reforming the club system. Right now, whenever a club wants to do something, they have to go through hurdles. Instead of assisting them and helping them make this happen, it's a challenge. We shouldn't be making it a challenge for our students to get involved and engaged. So I think that's a big part of what we're saying of maintaining engagement for first year students is actually providing the resources to our clubs and our associations on campus to make sure they can involve first years in a way that's greater than is happening right now.
I understand your team also would like to implement a thing called Wellness Wednesdays, so naps, puppies, all of that. I'm sure many students would definitely be interested in this, but how realistic is this?
So, well, first we'll start off with the piloting of wellness initiatives. So this idea is awesome. It's honestly students coming to us and everyday students and saying we want to implement this wellness initiative and bring it to Western, and then we would act as a platform to help them out. Your question is how is it realistic?
Yeah, like how is napping realistic?
Oh, okay. So nap rooms. Mm-hmm. So this is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So okay. So you might ask, how is it realistic? The University of Calgary, they actually have nap rooms right now. UBC, they're implementing it, I think, this week.
Yeah, it got implemented on Monday.
Yeah. So it's realistic there. So it's going to be realistic here. It's going to be the new trend happening in all universities. You walk around campus and you see people, crashing on their books in their library, sleeping on couches. We have to make sure it's clean and secure. Mm-hmm. But let's give them a room to nap in, de-stress, and then move on with the day.
It's kind of a fun idea. This is one of those ideas that sparks students, a little light bulb. Yeah, exactly. They get excited by it. And our idea by putting this on is it's an example of what's to come. In terms of expanding beyond Wellness Wednesdays, our idea is to have things in the UCC atrium every other Wednesday. And is it feasible? It's 100% feasible. It's not that expensive to create programming in there every other Wednesday.
Even yoga and things like that?
Yeah, so the yoga stuff is, our focus on that would be like during exam times, like high stress periods of groups that we can bring together. We think it's a great initiative, and these are just, they're just little ideas, right? We want to work with the students for them to help us plan this. And I think that's the greatest part of this initiative. You've seen how successful science has been with it. It's been a huge campaign around campus. But can you imagine if we applied our resources to it as well, and we worked with them and other faculty councils? It could blow up. It's fantastic. It could make a difference in the lives of students.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
So if you could describe you being president and you being vice president in one word to the student body, what would it be?
Outgoing.
Okay. Robbie,
Honestly,
do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I very much agree with that.
Outgoing in the sense that, we're not just going to be people sitting behind a desk all day. We're going to be people that are attending events. We're going to be out there. We're going to be talking to people. We want to make sure that we're involved with things. So that outgoing personalities that both of us hold, I think is really going to come to light.
I think the word that I would describe myself would be caring. It's a simple word, but it really applies to lots of things. Caring about the everyday student and caring about the faculties who work really hard to do what they do. Going to their council meetings, as I said before, meeting the everyday student for coffee, just really
engaging,
really caring. Well, if you asked me for 2 words, that would be my second word.
That's a tough one.
Caring would be the first word.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Where can students find out more information about your
sure.
platform?
So our website's at palinforpresident.ca. We also have a Facebook page. You can hashtag Palin Cohen. And
Palin Cohen or Palin Cohen?
Oh yeah, we'll get into
The
that
ongoing
discussion.
debate.
Yeah, that's a debate. You decide. Or you can just come by and talk to us. We'll be in the UCC all the time. We love to talk to you guys. We have a few socials planned that we'd love for you guys to attend. And we hope to see you guys around. This is what we're all about, engaging students. Come talk to us. Pretty easy to talk to you guys.
Sounds good. Well, good luck with your campaign in the future, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks.